Hello, everyone. Let me give that over to you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Welcome back. New background. 2 episodes in.
Mm-hmm.
We got our new screen over here. Just doing the, let me do all my pre-stream checks for everything. Let me pull it up here.
I just be here.
Okay.
That was me saying that to me.
It was.
Okay. How coincidental.
So, we are good to go. Welcome back, everyone, to Umineko.
Yeah.
No Naku, Koro ni.
Episode 3.
Rondo of the Witch and Reasoning. Questions, arcs.
Banquet of the Golden Witch.
3.
Yeah. Ding dong. I be seeing those unlock buttons next to those. Can you just unlock those?
Yeah, I think you can just unlock them if you want to skip stuff. It's for like if you've played the game before, but like you bought it again, I think. So you can just unlock them and go into them. But it's there to be like, oh, you haven't done these yet. You should probably do the ones before them.
I don't think I could even possibly fathom, like, finishing episode 1 and starting episode 2 and being like, this kind of boring, and then skipping to episode, like, 3 or 4.
Nah. That's the way to play Umineko is non-chronologically.
Machete order,
Piece it back together. That's the real mystery there, is you have to piece everything together.
I was just say, can you even technically really play it in chronological, because it's all the same days?
True.
I guess you could if you
True.
went to the flashbacks.
I would say if you at least started on episode 1 and finished episode 1 first, you could probably do the next 3 in any order. Partially. There might be some things that you're like, huh, about, but you'll find out if you do all of them. Now, skipping is a different question entirely. I don't think anyone should skip.
You'll see.
I bet my opinion will not change despite seeing. Anyways.
They'll all see.
Last we left off, we had some pretty tender moments. Especially between Eva and Hideyoshi. With Eva being... We got Eva backstory. Man, her home life sucked before she got to leave. And we got even more backstory of her being like, I'm not pushing what I wanted onto George, am I? Am I a terrible mother? And Hideyoshi was like, no, you're crazy. You're being silly. Don't think that. Which heavily implies that this is the Eva episode for the adult that gets to survive. So I hope you weren't hoping to see much more Rudolph in this one again. But
Man.
yeah, I believe the cousins are down on the beach because everyone's like doing their thing now, you know, getting into the house.
We're back into the rhythm. Yep. If anybody out there can you please desperately send me a gif of Ava just blubbering? I think it's funny. Anyway.
Ah.
Time to get into it,
Yeah, let me get back into my rhythm here.
True, I had to rewatch our last to remind myself some of my voices, because we already met quite a plethora of new voices.
True. All the dang 7 sisters.
Yes.
I'm not going to remember which voice goes to which one. I'm just going to use them interchangeably the entire time.
I know that Mammon is the man voice because Mammon sounds like Manon.
I think it fits if they actually are demons. Anyways.
Thank you.
I meant the interchanging voices thing, but that too. What do you mean? What, you mean 6 years ago? I mean, I was still in elementary school back then, right? It's pretty unfair to expect me to remember everything, don't you think?
True, especially because we were so young. We've grown a lot in these 6 years. If I hadn't been introduced, I might not even have remembered you.
Really? I figured he was Vadler right away. And when he opened his mouth, I was sure. Oh, I just met him for the first time. Didn't know him 6 years ago.
That's right. Maria-sama was only 3 years old then.
Well, the same goes for me. I was only 3
What?
years old.
Yeah, what?
I only knew Maria when she was 3 years old, and since she's grown so big, of course I wouldn't recognize her. After lunch, we had all gone out to the beach to walk around, talk, and take it easy. Our parents were apparently having a suspicious, complicated discussion, so we ended up leaving them behind. That's a bit sussy. Well, just as I'd guessed from the start,
Welcome
Beatrice,
to
you vile
Gen Z
woman.
Umineko.
Beatrice, you vile woman, release my tongue from its curse you have placed upon it. Well, just as I'd guessed from the start, the conversation focused on me since I'd been away for 6 years.
Still, you've really gotten tall. I wouldn't call myself short, but your height really surprised me.
He is 5'8". This is tall for a Japanese male.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I remember well what Battler-sama was like 6 years ago, but I was surprised even so.
Yeah, seriously. I can hardly believe this is the same battler we knew back then. I'm surprised how much everyone remembers about it. My memory's all hazy. Yeah, I'll bet. Looks like it's taken you a while to remember us. You know, that hurts a bit. This time he didn't do the awooga awooga thing to her. And now she's sad.
Yeah, wait, what? Feels like that's true. Feels like truing.
Come on. This was 6 years ago, right? I'm the one who has it bad, being forced to remember.
Are you saying that you can't remember well because it was 6 years ago?
Or it was 6 years ago because you can't remember well.
Precisely what I was thinking. I can remember it as clearly as if it happened yesterday. Well, your memory's great after all. You remember the kind of things Battler did and said back then pretty clearly, don't you?
Come to think of it, that's right. Shannon's memory can be incredible when you'd least expect it. Oh, I'm horrible at remembering. I remember fun things, but I can't remember boring things at all. Oh. We all laughed, saying everyone was like that.
Ha 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 ha.
Shannon, by the way, what was Battler like 6 years ago? Okay.
Bling.
Yeah. Remember any interesting episodes?
She's trying to like out him as a bedwetter or something? Let's see. I'm sure that he said something like this when he left.
She just wants him to be embarrassed in some regard.
Yep. I'll be back. See you again. I'll surely come for you riding a white horse.
Dang! Ah! Stop
cringe.
it! So embarrassing!
I was wondering, I thought the music had stopped, but I was like, maybe it's just me?
Sounds just like something you'd say. Yeah, I remember you always used to be full of those stupid lines, Battler. George looks pained.
Yeah. It really does sound like something Battler-kun would have said back then.
So cringe.
True.
Oh, embarrassing? Is that embarrassing? Yeah. Horribly embarrassing. Maria, I'm sure that when you're in middle school, you'll want to say embarrassing stuff like that. When that happens, make sure you write it down and read it 3 times before saying it out loud. If you don't, you'll definitely regret it. Still, everyone has to pass through that pitiful period. That's right. That's how you learn your place, learn shame, and become an adult. Yeah, it's one of those bittersweet things everyone does at adolescence as they transition to becoming adults. A memory you just want to forget. After all, this was stuff I'd let slip out without thinking, so I didn't remember the words exactly. But now that those words were being recited to me, they were as embarrassing as hell. Sorry, I had to burp.
Oh.
I only recently came to understand this weakness, and was working hard to avoid such careless outbursts, but I guess I was just born with the habit of speaking without thinking, and there's nothing I can do about it. Shannon, do you remember any other embarrassing stuff?
Yes, well, I remember a few other things, but since it looks like the person in question wants to forget them, I think I'll refrain from saying any more.
To be brutally honest, I don't remember this at all. Please, don't make me remember. Huh? Shannon's bullying Battler?
Yeah.
You can't. You shouldn't bully people.
She isn't really bullying him. Let's leave it at that, okay? But Shannon, you'll have to? You'll have to tell me all about it sometime Battler isn't around.
Not fair. Not fair. Pulling the girlfriend gossip card.
It sounds pretty interesting.
Yes, certainly.
No, you can't. Shannon-chan! For a while, George Aniki laughed at me, as though warming up for when Shannon-chan would tell him about more of my embarrassing misspeaks.
And then she brings out a giant barrier.
I thought you were going to say a comically large spoon.
No! Oh,
George looked like he was flirting with Shannon. Strange.
Weird, even.
Yeah. But he seemed somewhat open and frank about it.
Okay, that is potentially maybe a little different.
He was always that way with his cousins, what? But he usually took on a reserved, gentlemanly attitude when he came in contact with the servants. When I thought about it, I got the feeling he was being a bit overly friendly, which seemed strange. Maria started scribbling in the sand with a stick, and George Aniki and Shannon-chan joined in. This left me and Jessica off to the side, so I asked her secretively, for the third time. Hey, Jessica, is George Aniki, going out with Shannon-chan? Oh? What the? How'd you guess? God damn it. I hate
The
that sprite.
cheesing.
The Jessica cheesing sprite. I hate it so much. Oh. Battler, you've got a keener eye for people than I thought. Huh? What? I was just kidding. But they're actually going out? Shh! Your voice is too loud. It looks like they're keeping it secret for now, okay? It'd be better if nobody found out about it, especially Aunt Ava. I see. Love with a servant, huh? Yeah, but since when? I guess a lot can happen in 6 years. Uh-huh. But yeah, Aniki's an amazing person, and Shannon-chan seems to be kind and brave. So, they might make a pretty good match. Actually, 6 years ago, I remember taking notice of her just a little bit. I see. She really fits well with George Aniki. Nothing I can do about that. Goodbye, my fleeting first love of 6 years ago. Dang, took us to episode 3 to get that.
Yeah.
Which means that the collection of embarrassing lines Shannon-chan had just held back on probably had something to do with that. Ah, I can't take it. How long have they been going out?
That depends on what you call going out, but I think it's been at least a year.
But if you count the time they both had one-sided feelings, it'd probably be several years. Before I'd realized it, the two of them had separated themselves from the group and were walking down the beach, talking about something. They looked calm. And rather than a light relationship between two lovers, it looked like a more serious one, as though they were already engaged. 6 years ago, huh? That's a long time. What did those 6 years mean to me? I've just gotten taller. It was just a waste of time. 6 years I spent obstinately fighting with my dad.
What about you, Battler?
You got a girlfriend? I wonder. There's a few girls that I have fun with. But there's no only one. I guess I'm just a kid. I think it's more fun to be noisy with a large... Okay, I thought he was going to say something else.
Yeah? He is his father's son, I'm starting to think.
He is his father's son. Oh, I thought he was going to say something about a large woman.
Oh, I can see where you got that now.
Yep. I think it's more fun to be noisy with a large group of people than being alone with one person.
That's so you, Battler. But take your relationships with your female friends seriously. When girls get wrong impressions or form a group, it can be scary, you know? They might be having secret feuds over you behind your back, with people getting hurt or crying.
That's so weird. I think I remember getting the same bit of advice from one of the girls in my class just last week. What's this all about? Why can't everyone just have fun together? Do people really want to couple up that much? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear you bleeding a little bit. Is that why you've been muting?
I don't think so, I don't know. But I also am just trying to get into habit of muting.
Some of my audio is bleeding very faintly through you. I'm trying
I can turn this all down.
I don't remember how to like turn you down in Discord, but I know I have you up really high in Discord because you had been quiet for a while. But it might be fine. Let me talk. I'm talking. Hello, hello, hello.
I'm not muted.
Okay, that time I didn't hear anything, so if you turned it down a little bit, it's fine now.
Okay, I also turned the stream volume down, as in the Discord stream, and I turned your volume down a little bit.
Okay, that probably did it. One of those did it.
Okay, but I was not muting for that. I'm muting. I'm trying to mute when I'm not, because this is just Jessica and Battler, so yeah.
I thought maybe you had heard it, like, playing back on your end, like when you had the stream up somewhere, and you were like, oh, I'm going to mute because I hear that coming through.
No, I just don't want you to, like,
Okay.
hear me breathing the whole time.
Okay. It's probably better, though not probably better. It's probably because you've never found a partner like that, Battler. Well, you might run into someone sooner or later. You just gotta wait patiently. He has 7 girlfriends, and yes, they're all demons. And yes, they tear him apart on a regular basis.
True. And that number's only gonna keep going up.
Poor Battler. Just wait for the rat.
I was gonna say, yes, I have a rat girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yes, she's an intellectual anyway. We'll get there when we get there.
Oh. What? It almost sounds like you've already found a partner like that. What about you? Have you gotten a boyfriend? Huh? Me? No.
Yeah.
Come on, that reaction's so easy to understand. From the looks of it, there's some boy you're thinking about. but you haven't been able to confess to him yet? Something like that?
No, that's not, shut up! Who cares about that?
If you're the one who brought up this subject, why are you yelling at me now? Women are creatures who always ask questions.
Creatures.
I think he's got a little bit of Uncle Rudolph in him there.
Uncle Kraus.
No, oh yeah, Kraus. Fuck. Mixing names around.
Yeah.
Everyone does say he resembles Kinzo more than anyone. Anyways.
Actually true.
Women are creatures who always ask questions, and yet almost never answer them. What cruel creatures. Seriously.
Well, I did try to confess once. Well, I struck out pretty badly.
Did you get an I'm sorry?
No, well, my feelings were seriously one-sided and they didn't really know how to respond, I guess. It was like they didn't view me that way at all.
Well, I can understand that. You talk like a man, after all. Battler. Battler.
He's so Kinzo pilled.
He is. Why does my cousin act like a man?
Know your place.
If you don't act a bit more
God.
graceful, you won't be able to catch a boy's interest.
Is it really? Is the way I speak?
Hello?
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Really
he
that
was
bad?
very bashful.
Well, how you talk isn't everything, but when people like you when people like you, who usually have a rough style of speech, suddenly start working hard to talk more normally, well, there are guys out there whose heart will skip a beat when they see how determined you are.
Is that really true? I see. Yeah.
Jessica suddenly started talking more meekly, and then her face instantly went slightly red. Damn it, Mom was right. I should be more ladylike.
If only Battler knew the reason that she got rejected wasn't because she was manly, but because she wasn't Cherry.
I see. Even though her confession didn't go well, it looks like she still hasn't given up. But still, I get it. After seeing how close George, Aniki, and Shannon-chan have gotten, I also kind of want to find a girlfriend. 6 years. 6 years of puberty are pretty important, and they went by pretty fast. As the typhoon approached, the clouds grew steadily grayer, but even so, I had this really refreshing feeling. Maybe I'll try thinking more seriously about the opposite sex. Uh-oh. Oh, wait, good line, wait. More than just the size of their boobs.
Okay, yeah. I was with you. I was slow to catch on.
I thought he was just gonna dig the hole deeper.
Yep, me too.
By the way, it looks like George Aniki's going out with a servant. Don't tell me it's the same for you. He really is Kinzo pilled. The lowly servant.
Yeah.
Huh? What? Why do you think that?
Be honest, it's Goda, right? Oh.
Come to think of it, that kid Kenon-kun who greeted us in the Rose Garden, you were covering for him pretty intensely considering he was just a little awkward at talking. No, that's not... now you're getting paranoid.
This battler is so much more insightful
Yeah.
than the last two episodes. I don't know what's going on here.
Then tell me just one thing. Say it in red. You can't say
True. You don't
Right?
like him.
You don't like him. You don't like Kenon. Say it in red. Right now, Is the boy you're after within 1 kilometer of this spot? Cannon precisely 1.1 kilometers away.
He knew the mission.
Yeah. Well, about that, I wonder.
Battler, get it through your head. She's talking about you.
No, the roles really have been reversed this time. If Battler doesn't talk about Jessica's boobs, she gets feelings for him.
I guess.
Kenon-kun was the only boy on this island now who could possibly become her boyfriend.
Well.
Shut up. So, judging by her reaction, I was right on. I didn't think of the Ushiromio family as a noble family. But love with a servant? I wouldn't have dreamed that 2 pairs of Romeo and Juliet would be right next to me. I gotta find a servant. Kumasawa! No.
I'd be going for Genji before her.
True. You'd never want for anything. Aunt Ava would probably become an obstacle to George Aniki and Shannon-chan's love. If Aunt Ava ever learned that Shannon-chan was the partner of her only beloved son, she'd probably scream at her for trying to steal away her precious George. More like whisper. And a relationship between Jessica and Kenon-kun would probably be just as full of difficulties. Jessica in the parlor with Natsuhi and Kraus trying to explain that they're together when Natsuhi is just like, Kenon, you understand that this is a wrong thing for the servant to do, right? And Kenon just goes, you're absolutely right, ma'am.
True.
I will break up with her immediately.
My apologies.
Yeah, my apologies. And Natsuhi was also very strict about that kind of thing. After all, Jessica's husband would probably become the head of the Ushiromia family in the future. If that person had once been a servant working for the family, well, things would get complicated. It doesn't have to be. Well, love is different for every person. As long as you're with someone who's fun to be around, does anything else matter? When 2 people pair up, they don't need anyone's permission, as long as they accept each other. Worrying about what your parents or family will say means you've already lost. Don't forget that. He's talking to us? I don't know. Why?
Yeah. Remember this, Levi. Remember. No.
You better not go out with someone with mixed feelings.
What do you mean by that?
I can't believe you're saying something so philosophical sounding when you haven't even been in love.
Well, that's the thing, though. Is
You
like
don't know
always,
that, Jessica.
Even the people that aren't like embroiled in something give the best relationship advice. It's kind of like a law.
True. But also, she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that he hasn't been in love.
That's true. He's apparently in with several girls back home. So
Yeah. His several weed-smoking girlfriends.
yeah.
Don't treat love like a matter of profit and loss. He really is
Not
being
at all.
philosophical right now.
Yeah,
What is
he-
up with Battler? It's about heart. That's all I have to say. That's all I'm going to say about that. Well then. God damn it.
Go ahead.
See you again. Have a nice day.
Hideyoshi sound and laugh.
George Nissan. Shannon, listen. This guy, he said another one of those lines. I didn't say anything. Wait, don't make fun of me. I heard it. See you again. Oh, that hurt.
Yeah.
For a while, we forgot that the wind was getting stronger and played around on the beach. Murder time? I grew up a lot these past 6 years. Being able to celebrate my youth and meet with all my cousins was truly refreshing. It was a bit late now, but I realized that I should have gotten back together with everyone a lot sooner and returned to the Ushiromia family. Sure is nice to have all the cousins together every once in a while.
Ooh, I like it too. It's really fun when all the cousins get together.
That's right. But we're already old enough. It's not like we couldn't meet each other when our parents aren't around. Might not be a bad idea to gather the cousins together and play every once in a while.
That's a good plan. Maybe we should set up something like that the next time we get a chance.
Yeah, I agree. I hope we cousins can stay friends forever.
Hey, if you make such a big deal out of it, you almost make it sound like relatives usually end up hating each other.
Yeah.
Oh, that's you. Oh, Jessica laughed too, okay. George, Aniki, and Jessica laughed, but it felt just a little strained.
Just a little.
Did I say something wrong? Judging by how our parents made quiet expressions and tired faces every once in a while during the boat ride and at the airport and when we talked about coming here and maybe I should have kept that to myself. You're right. It's just like Jessica said. Let's always be friends to each other.
Ooh, me too. We're all friends.
That's right. Yeah. We'll always be together. We'll always be friends.
Why are they setting up this giant red flag right now?
What do you mean?
Man, we've been saying some pretty embarrassing stuff. I feel kinda awkward.
But I think it's very important. People are creatures who find it very hard to stay together, much less remain friends, unless they truly desire it.
No, Shannon, women are creatures. No.
That's right. You really can't take everyone being friendly for granted.
Ooh, a witch I know said it. Happiness won't be granted unless everyone believes in it.
That's true. Maybe some magic exists in the power of belief. If we all believe in that, I'm sure it'll bring us happiness.
All right. Well, if we're doing embarrassing stuff already, let's all swear to believe in this together, okay? That we'll all always be friendly. That we'll always be happy. This is like what episode 1 should have started with. What the heck? Like hell we'll end up like our parents. As if we'd ever search for each other's weaknesses, going after grandfather's fortune. I feel like something is going to happen once the murders start this episode. Okay. We'll always be friendly and happy. Let's all believe in that. No matter how much we cousins tried to nostalgically have fun, dark clouds continued to approach Rokkenjima. I wonder if the typhoon will pass and let us see the clear skies before we leave this island. Who cares about what our parents are planning? Who cares about the inheritance and the honor of our old family? As youthful as we were renewing our old friendship. And we all believed together that we could find happiness. That's why I wanted this pair of days to end. I want this pair of days to end without anything weird happening. God damn it. In peace and happiness. And calmly. No, I don't just want them to end. Please, let them end.
Whoa.
Hi, not even a transition. You're just here.
Yeah. Let them end?
Oh my god. Damn it! Don't show up. Don't appear. Damn it, damn it, damn it.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I've finally prepared a new game. Come, let us begin this tale of tragedy. Come to me, winds, rain, typhoon. Cut this island off from the real world. Throw Rokkenjima into another realm, into the spirit world, into a world of fantasy. Oh,
Just like that, huh?
Australian toilet.
And so, the tale repeated for the third time. Okay, I was kind of scared they were going to do a ton of exposition again. And I was going to be like, oh, for 3 episodes. However, to an endless witch, what did it matter? Damn it.
Yeah.
What did it matter whether... Oh my god, okay. Beatrice, you foul temptress.
Beatrice counter.
However, to an endless witch, what did it matter whether it was the first, second, or third time? From now on, every time I stumble, I'm blaming Beatrice for it.
Yep.
It probably didn't matter at all. She would think it's funny. After all.
I blame Lambda.
No, she would just punch me in the face. She would.
That's true.
After all, this was a tale of fantasy, endlessly repeating until the match was settled. Would Badler surrender first, or would the witch? Well, he did technically surrender first. He just stopped surrendering.
He unsurrendered before the stack resolved.
Yeah. Beatrice was too slow on that. You gotta be quicker than that.
True.
Then the sky grew dark and cloudy, and the rain and wind were summoned together and became a typhoon. Maria could be seen in the rose garden, paying no mind to the rain that had started falling.
Oh, we're like really going.
Yep, going around in circles, searching for that single rose that should have been marked.
Not here! Not here! My rose! That we marked isn't here!
Maria definitely remembered it. That rose had been in the flower bed right here. That never was explained, was it? How it just kind of disappeared?
No, I still believe that it probably did in fact just get typhooned off.
Maybe.
If it was a weak,
Yeah.
dying rose.
And yet, it wasn't anymore. She didn't know what to do with her irritation at not being able to find something that should have been there. But wasn't it in the first episode? Wasn't it she was looking for it before the typhoon came through? And it wasn't there, and then she got stuck out in the rain because that's when Rosa was like, oh my god, I left Maria outside.
That's true. In which case, there is another explanation for it.
Magic. Or someone just took it.
I was gonna say,
Like,
the 19th person did it intentionally.
or like anyone. I did.
True. Canon said, "What's this doing here?" Let
Yeah.
me print that.
She didn't know what to do with it. Oh, I already read that. And, moaning bitterly, she couldn't help but keep going back and forth in circles around the same spot. It's a metaphor for this, right now.
True. Ouroboros.
She was acting almost as though she'd been able to see if she looked at it from a different angle. But even though she did that, there was no way to find something that wasn't there. She's Badler.
Without love, it cannot be seen.
The wind grew increasingly strong, and the rain turned into cold, large drops. There was no way even Maria would fail to notice this. However, if she couldn't find her rose here, it would surely disappear forever. Maria believed that. That feeling spurred her on to keep searching for a rose that she had no chance of finding. Just then, the cold drops of rain tormenting Maria were suddenly blocked. Maria raised her head. When she did, she saw an umbrella there, protecting her from the rain. And the one holding out that umbrella was the witch she admired, Beatrice.
Beatrice!
What are you doing so frantically in the middle of all this rain? You could catch a cold like this. Even witches have to care for their own health.
I can't find my rose. No matter how many times I search, even though it should have been here, I can't find it.
Maria told Beatrice about how there had been a slightly unhealthy, pitiful rose, and that she was sure they had marked it.
Ho ho.
So you can't find it. If you are a witch's apprentice, you should use magic to search for the rose. I believe that searching with just your eyes won't be nearly enough.
I can't find it. I did my best and tried to search with magic, but I can't find it.
I think practicing your magic is a very good thing, but it might be a little too much for you with all this wind and rain. Allow me to lend you some special power. Concern for one's disciples is also one of a teacher's duties.
Thank you, Beatrice.
Maria's face, which had been full of sadness until just now, split open into a grin. Maria knew. She knew that there was nothing Beatrice's magic couldn't do. So she was sure that Beatrice would be able to find the rose easily, even though Maria couldn't. Just make it remember when it was there.
Mm-hmm.
Beatrice closed her eyes lightly, acting as though she was listening for something in all this wind and rain. Then she heard it, opened her eyes, and spoke.
All things in this world are transitory. Too bad, Maria. It seems your rose couldn't withstand all of this wind and rain.
Then my rose?
It was uprooted by the wind, and is no longer of this world.
What Beatrice had said was quite reasonable. There was nothing odd about the flower being broken off at the stem in this strong wind. However, Maria couldn't accept this and bitterly gave a low-pitched moan.
Yep.
No.
Oh?
No. No! It's my rose! My rose won't come back! No! I'll bring it back to life with my magic! Beatrice, teach me how to revive a rose with magic!
Ha! It's much too early for an apprentice like you to learn the hidden art of endless magic. Know your place.
Maria wiped the tears from her eyes, full of regret.
We haven't gotten the cross-armed Beatrice much at all, if at all.
No. Beatrice shrugged her shoulders and chuckled at Maria's pitiable expression.
Very well. I will lend you my power, the hidden art that can revive a rose.
Really?
Indeed. Well then, concentrate the power of your heart. Close your eyes, forget the rain, forget the wind, and search for the soul of the wandering rose with the eyes of your heart.
Maria closed her eyes. Then she repeated Beatrice's song-like words.
Come, try to remember. Rose, what form did you have?
Come, try to remember. Rose, what form did you have?
Don't look, don't listen, and believe. Release the power of your soul from the cage of flesh that imprisons it. That's it. Good.
Around Maria, who was concentrating her power, her eyes tightly shut, small golden butterflies began to dance. Was this the manifestation of the magical power Maria held?
Lost soul of the rose, gather into one and remember your form. Come, gather, remember.
The glitter of the gold butterflies began to strengthen, and their numbers increased. Then, Beatrice raised a finger up to the skies, and they began to gather at the tip of that finger. This was the miracle of the golden magic. The gold butterflies began to condense into a single dazzling grain of gold. It was a single glittering gold seed. It rode on the tip of Beatrice's finger, budded into a golden sprout, and opened into a golden leaf. Then it slowly fell from that fingertip, sank into the mud of the flower bed, and began to grow steadily. Maria, who admired magic and the witch, really wanted to see this fantastical sight. However, as an apprentice, Maria was still not qualified to see it. No. She was probably afraid that if she opened her eyes to look, the power that she had concentrated in her heart would be cut off, and the magic would be lost. Therefore, Beatrice, as the only one permitted to witness this golden miracle, was the only witch, the sole master of many miracles. Then, the fully grown rose bloomed, creating one golden flower. And when Beatrice poked it with her finger in just the right way, the gold-colored sparkles scattered, just as if golden soap bubble had popped, if a golden soap bubble had popped. And what remained was a single, beautiful rose.
It looks like you've remembered a splendid rose. However, if we just leave it mixed in with these other roses, you won't be able to tell it apart. Shall I perform one last service?
Beatrice, for the sake of her cute apprentice, who was moaning even more now in concentration, decided to use one more bit of magic.
I want a Maria microwave. It's so good. Okay.
When she snapped her fingers, a single gold butterfly appeared, fluttered around, and landed on the flower that had just been revived. Then it suddenly burst open and disappeared, becoming golden lace and marking the rose.
That will do, Maria. You may open your eyes now.
Where's the rose? It's not here. Not here.
Not over there, over here. Look, I've marked it with golden lace.
What? You did? Awesome, 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 awesome! Thank you, Viato. Thank you, Viato. I want to become a witch quickly, a great witch like you.
And you can. Long ago, I too wished for that innocently, just as you do, and I have attained that level.
Maria was ecstatic over the revived rose, clapping her hands and jumping around in joy. Watching that, Beatrice also smiled, looking fairly pleased.
Oh,
That's you.
yep. I forgot our rule is the eyes.
Yep.
By now, I can break and repair any soul if I try, not just that of a rose, and kill and revive as I pleased. Come, the barrier of the storm has now sealed Rokkenjima off from the natural world. Now is the time for the golden witch Beatrice to descend as an endless witch.
Beatrice pulled from her pocket an envelope with the family crest, the one-winged eagle, and gave it to Maria. Maria frolicked around at being selected to be the witch's messenger.
So, Kinzo, I've come to join in on your fun once more. My preparations are already complete. What of you? Have you prepared enough coins to bet in tonight's game? The ante. Of course. I'm fully prepared. Beatrice! I've assembled a plethora of pieces. I'm ready, both physically and mentally.
My body is ready.
So then, let us make the ante. I said that. All that you have given should be returned to you in the
You're
end.
morphing into Kinzo.
Come, take it!
Kinzo flung the window of his study wide open, took off the valuable golden ring that had been on his finger, and threw it into the darkness of the raging wind and rain.
I'm doing sound effects now.
That ring was struck by lightning,
Holy!
and after twinkling gold for an instant, disappeared. Kinzo watched it go, grinning broadly and fearlessly.
What would even happen if like a small object got struck by lightning in the middle
Probably
of the
just
air?
disintegrate.
Yeah, because it wouldn't ground to anything. It's in the air. Anyway.
All the energy would transfer into the object.
Yeah. Oh. I don't think I'll lose. You are mine. Forever!
Kinzo, can we get back to the chess game?
Oh!
Kinzo, did you see that shit? The lightning struck your ring when you threw it out the window. Holy shit.
Genji, what are your thoughts?
Indeed.
Oh, no.
The ring that Kinzo had thrown became a single gold butterfly and fluttered around in the wind and rain.
Oh, that's what happens.
It headed for the rose garden, almost as though it was being guided there. Then it found the figure of the Golden Witch and fluttered down.
Once we finish this chapter, I want to make a quick detour and discuss the official Umineko merchandise that has existed.
Okay.
Because I forgot about it, and then when we talked about the Maria microwave, I remembered the actual official merchandise, and I was like, holy. What?
When it came
Anyway.
down, right in front of Beatrice, it burst open and returned to its original form, flying through the air. The way it was going, you would have expected it to fall into a puddle, but it stopped suddenly in midair, almost as if some transparent person had caught it. Apparently, even Beatrice hadn't expected this. However, she realized who it was, and grinned broadly at it. New character? Oh my goodness. Who is this? Which one of us is this?
It's me. It's gonna be
Okay.
me.
As she did, the shadow of the person who had caught the ring began to fuzzily appear. I've seen this character before. In fact, he was in the very first piece of Umineko media I had ever seen that you showed me.
He was, wasn't he?
Yes. I have no idea who he is or what he do, but he was there. It was the figure of a young man wearing a butler's uniform embroidered with the one-winged eagle crest. There was no man like this among the servants of the Ushiromiya family. Even so, Beatrice laughed as though it was someone she remembered fondly.
Ronove, is it? It's been quite some time. It seems you have remembered me. You were always a man who took loyalty seriously. I gotta think about it. Thankfully, I don't have very many male voices.
Yeah,
So, I gotta think. He's haughty, he's a fancy guy, but he's also a cool guy. It has been quite some time since your last correspondence. Not for a single day have I, Ronove, forgotten that I serve you, milady. I was more afraid that you had forgotten about me.
Are these like her past servants from when she was a little princess?
After all, you can be quite forgetful. I see. Yes, I certainly am forgetful. I'd forgotten even your sarcasm until I heard it again.
Milady, take this.
With an exaggerated yet elegant gesture, he bowed respectfully and held out to Beatrice the head's ring that he'd just caught.
It is the Ushiromiya family head's ring, returned to you from Ushiromiya Kinzo. It is now once again in the possession of its master.
Indeed. This is Kinzo announcing the start of the game. Of course, I'll accept it.
So, how shall we play tonight? Shall I prepare the roulette immediately? Or shall I prepare some black tea first?
I can't decide which, but first I need you to greet someone.
My boy toy.
I'm sure that guy's got his mouth hanging open and can't shut it.
Please, for the love of God, cut to the
Right,
sprite.
battler?
Cut to the sprite with his mouth open, please, I beg you.
Oh! Greetings. Allow me to introduce myself. I am called Ronove, and I serve at the side of Milady Beatrice. It is truly a pleasure to meet you.
See? His mouth's hanging open and he can't shut it, right?
Damn it!
Oh,
They had a golden opportunity to
a
use that
golden
sprite.
opportunity.
Yes. Yeah, no shit. Another incomprehensible guy just showed up.
Incomprehensible guy. It's really funny.
First, I grumble about goat-headed people doing the Bond dance. Then, goat-heads start showing up in swarms. And since then, not only have those 7-ass Naysans appeared, but now there's even a butler. It doesn't make sense. Cut it out!
What a creepy transition.
By the way, Battler, did you notice? Did you realize that meeting him is a true devil's proof?
A devil's proof? What do you mean?
He may not look like it, but this guy's one of the 72, a genuine demon.
Ah, I see.
In other words, I've brought a demon right in front of you, which truly proves that they exist. Ronove holds a noble rank in hell, the 27th highest ranked great demon. He's a pretty useful man. I summoned him at high cost and made him serve me.
It is an honor to meet you. While my name is amongst those of the nobles of hell, I now serve as the head furniture of Beatrice Summer, who despite being a vulgar human, is a great witch of such caliber that demons flee before her.
He's a very useful man, but he's impudent with his words. Frustratingly enough, he sometimes forgets to respect his master.
Nothing in my contract specifies the manner in which I am to speak. Would you like to change that contract?
Ooh.
It keeps me entertained, so it's fine.
I would not entertain a demon asking to change their contract.
Yeah.
Beatrice turned her back to him, cackling. After bowing once to her back, Ronove turned back to Battler and stuck out his right hand, showing off an innocent smile. Normally, this would mean that he was asking for a handshake. What is this supposed to be?
I am another who has been... Oh, for a minute it glitched and it just wasn't loading, so I was stuck on bin. I am another who has been subjected to Milady's whims. In that sense, I am sure we could become good friends. This is a handshake of friendship. Of course, this in no way implies your entry into a contract with a demon, so fear not.
Sorry, but I'm right in the middle of a big fight with your master.
I only shake hands with an enemy after we've beaten each other up in a rainy schoolyard and are all worn out, like something you'd see in a teen drama.
Whoa.
Remember that.
I see. To shake hands with you, Battler-sama, I must create a fitting atmosphere in a suitable location. Exchanging sweet words and physical language with you that rings true to your heart. When the opportunity arrives, I shall arrange for such an encounter.
Dang.
I must say, I simply love situations like that myself. Coo-coo-coo-coo.
As Ronove laughed tauntingly, he whispered to Battler, bringing his face so close that their noses were almost touching. Kia?
Kiss.
They're gonna kiss? Battler, his face turning red after getting so close to another of the same sex, pushed him away. You're a creepy bastard. I see, just right for Beato's butler.
It is an honor to receive such words of praise. I'm very confident in my tea brewing abilities, so please look forward to tea time. Baking cookies is one of my hobbies, so please feel free to request any snacks you may desire.
Just what I'd expect from a pair of the same gender.
What do you mean by that?
She's misogynist.
You've started getting along well right off the bat.
A misandrist.
True, I had it backwards, help me.
I'm jealous.
Although a
could be
positive misandrist?
My. I apologize for making you jealous, milady. I shall not sneakily snatch your guest away from you. Well then, I will leave for now to retake my post as head furniture and greet my subordinates. Please forgive my short absence.
Indeed. Only the common goats and the 7 sisters used for the ceremony have manifested themselves. You'll be able to finish greeting them in no time.
Oh, those lively 7 sisters are here? I wonder if those naughty girls have grown a little more graceful?
No. If that's graceful, I'll have to doubt the definition of the word graceful.
Is that so? Then I suppose you've already had the opportunity to play with those sisters.
And I loved it!
Judging by your expression, it would seem they're just as naughty as always. Even though I am always telling them to act more fitting as servants of Beatrice-sama. What troublesome kids.
If that's your problem, don't worry. They actually act perfectly fitting for their master.
Now even you have begun to say it. However, a conversation means that you accept your partner. The fact that you've started to respond to my idle chatting proves that you are gradually starting to accept my existence.
As a human, not a witch, dummy. There's cameras everywhere around here. You put screens up. It's all fake.
Mysterio.
That's because even if the sun starts rising from the west, I will definitely, absolutely never accept that you're a witch. You might want to try a more positive approach, like crying and kissing my shoes. Even if Battler was bluffing, he still spoke forcefully, a fearless expression on his face.
Bring the sisters back.
You can't do this to me! The witch and her butler snickered together, realizing that their guest had regained more than enough of his willpower to attend to a new game. And that preparations were complete. After Ronove exchanged a few words with Beatrice, he bowed silently to Battler, scattered into several gold butterflies, and disappeared.
Bye, run away.
I dig him.
You like him?
He's an interesting character. I like him.
The community calls him Bronove. Oh, before we get into her cackling, you want to check his tips menu?
Oh, yeah, true.
I think we heard him appear in there.
it
Yeah.
is. I forgot about the. Sorry, that's just
the
funny to me.
randomizer.
Yeah. Ronove, one of the 72 great demons, for all of you who know your esoteric Abrahamic lore.
True, and I believe that actually is in fact one of the ones, like that's a name
One of the
noted
real
in
names.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Works for a master in exchange for various forms of compensation. He currently has a contract with Beatrice as her butler, head furniture. He's become proficient at housekeeping after serving in many households, so his ability as a butler is very high. In the high society of witches, employing him has become kind of a status symbol. Further, the cookies he bakes are superb, and witches will often form a line demanding them. He must possess tremendous magical power, but since he always stays out of the spotlight to further boost his master's reputation, his combat capabilities are unknown.
There you go. Simple as.
He doesn't do anything special if I keep clicking him.
Nope. Anyway.
It is truly pleasing to have such a boisterous atmosphere. How boring were the days when I was trapped alone on this island, unable to regain my power and lacking anyone to talk to.
I get how that unpleasant guy is really fitting as your butler. But tell me, why has that butler only appeared now? You said something about how only the goats and the Nechans of the Seven Stakes had manifested themselves. What did that mean?
Indeed, you still resist, but I am a fully fledged witch. I am in contact with several non-human entities in the spirit world.
I'll bet. No sane people would hang out with you. First some goat monsters, then those ass Nechans, and this time a demon butler showed up. Is he calling them ass Nechans like they have good asses, or
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's what he's saying.
I hate to think about it, but the way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised if even more weird people appeared.
Flash slam cut to episode
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Among the furniture that work at my great golden mansion, how many demons do you think want to come over and play? They will keep coming. Many of them will appear. When the door to the Golden Land is opened, I will call back all of my furniture and build my new castle here on Rokkenjima. Then I plan to invite all of my old friends, and we will drink and dance together for 3 days and 3 nights. Of course, I also plan to invite Kinzo's family, you see? You too, if you wish.
So, is this what you mean? That since you lost your power for a long time, you couldn't summon them? And then, since your magic power has been gradually increasing, you've become able to summon more and more monsters.
It is as you say. You stopped a hair's breadth before crumbling. But your heart is already wavering, and you are unable to deny that I am a witch. That wavering in your heart has been slowly restoring my power as a witch.
So, are you trying to say that creepy butler appeared because I started to surrender?
That's right. Bit by bit, you are surrendering to me. Isn't all that humiliation you suffered in the last game a result of you submitting to me so deeply? Wasn't it great when you had to sacrifice your back for the sake of my feet?
Damn it. I thought I'd be able to keep things as they were as long as I didn't accept you. But it looks like that I was wrong.
Correct. The closer you get to surrendering, the more the game will swing in my favor. Isn't chess the same? In the process of cornering each other's kings, we trade several pieces. Of course, I still haven't cornered your king. And furthermore, you're giving it everything you've got just to help your king escape, and have lost several pieces to me, as well as a large advantage. It is only natural that further developments will tend to turn in my favor.
Damn.
From now on, you will probably be frantic as you try to avoid my checkmate. However, as you do, I will steal your pieces from you one by one. In the end, you will have lost everything but your king, and you won't be able to escape no matter how much you try. Then you will receive a true checkmate. You were talking big last time, weren't you? Something about how you'd never accept me and would torment me with eternal torture. Only witches who have reached the endless level can talk about eternity. That's been beyond you ever since the very beginning.
Oh. We're back in.
We're out of the meta.
Yeah.
Okay, as it loads itself in, I gotta tell you about the dang merch.
Okay.
So, first off, there's a Beatrice briefcase.
Amazing.
That was like the first thing they made. There's several Dakimakuras of characters you've yet to meet,
Okay.
and they are really lewd.
Okay.
There's a tapestry of all the stakes.
Dang.
They're all wearing bathing suits, by the way.
Yeah.
There's a
This is
calendar.
official merch?
This is all the official merch that has ever existed.
Oh my goodness.
There's a desk mat of Erica, who you've yet to meet, but you know.
I know.
She is just naked, completely naked.
Wow.
It looks like the high school DD interludes.
Yeah.
It looks
She's
like
just,
that,
like,
like she's on
sprawled
like a bed.
Yeah.
It looks like a bed. It's got like
Yeah.
a cloth on it, and she's just 100% naked.
Wow.
What's this? There's a picture book. Another Dakimakura of a character you've yet to meet.
Mm-hmm.
Another tapestry of characters you've yet to meet, but they're all naked.
Oh.
One of them, you know them, but you haven't met them. It's Dylanor.
Mm-hmm.
Sumides.
That's.
Another Dakimakura of another character from before that you also haven't met. And then 2 dolls made by a very famous doll company. When I say doll, I don't mean like figurine, like it's a doll.
A doll.
Yeah, and it's Beatrice, normal Beatrice doll, and a Maria doll.
Huh.
Oh, and their last thing they ever made, their last official merch that was ever made, was a shirt of Beatrice, Burn Castell, Lambda Delta, and some other characters you haven't met, saying "Welcome to El Dorado," and on the back in Japanese that says "Nanchatte," which means "just kidding." The pictures of the witches on that shirt, by the way, are like chibi art style.
What the hell?
See what I mean when I said the Maria microwave reminded me of the actual merch because it's all weird.
Oh, what? Welcome to El Dorado. Oh.
Yeah. Just kidding.
Okay.
That was all. That's all I had. I just had
Okay.
to, get that out there.
Oh, man. Are any of those products still available for purchase?
No, sadly, I don't think a single one of them is. Not for actual purchase. You might be able to for.
Yeah, I'll have to go on like eBay and get a second-hand one. That's dangerous.
What one would you?
We'll talk about that after stream.
You just want the El Dorado, don't you?
Yeah, I do really want the El Dorado.
Okay.
Maybe we'll make it so popular that they'll do like another wave of merch again.
True, the special Nat 1 re-release.
Yeah.
I want the Maria microwave more than anything else.
That's our thing that we get them to do is the Maria microwave. Specifically dubbed by me.
You?
Me as Maria.
Dang.
Speaking of which,
Kenzo-sama has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who can read the epitaph.
if I remember correctly, I did this in the creepy voice originally, but I like to think that in this one, she's just not creepy for some reason.
This does seem to be like the good universe.
Yes. Everyone's been a lot happier so far.
If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight, I ask that you enjoy your battle of wits with Kenzo-sama to the fullest. I sincerely pray that this night will be both intellectual and elegant. Beatrice the Golden.
Also, again, in the real world, we are just chugging along.
Yes, and I'm grateful for it.
Me too.
When Maria finished reading the letter that Beatrice had handed her, everyone was at a loss for words for a while. What? This is so shocking.
Courage the Cowardly Dog trying to explain to Muriel Beatrice is coming.
Oh.
I don't even know.
I'm just imagining.
He says words in between a little bit, so I'm trying to think what he would say. Like, magic. Beatrice.
Butterflies. Golden. Magic. Witch. Ooh.
Oh, silly
That's
courage.
nice, Courage. Yeah.
Witches aren't real.
Yeah. Stupid dog.
Oh, please.
And the
another
B
crossover.
the B plot would be Eustace trying to get the gold the whole time.
True, I crossover I didn't think I needed, but I do really absolutely need now.
Oh.
The Ushiromias versus the bags.
Oh. And then they all broke the silence at once.
Oh, hey Percy. I've been so engrossed in this, I didn't even know you were there.
I don't see anything in chat at all, huh?
I see 5 messages.
Oh my goodness.
One or two of them are a reference to Black Butler. Which
Wait,
I
let
will
me look at chat. My
not
chat's
mention.
just like not loading, I guess. What the heck?
Secondhand Dakimakura cover does go crazy.
Is it because I have it as top messages? What is happening?
I don't know. See, I have it pulled up on my phone, so I was able to. It's like
I
it's
also
almost
have
like a
it pulled
stream
up on
deck
my
for me.
phone. I also use my phone as a stream deck. I don't know. For some reason, it's being weird for me. Only you have chat right now, I guess.
Only I have chat.
It has been so
Okay.
long since I have been Natsuhi.
True. She had her episode at the first, so.
Ridiculous. What a worthless, vicious prank.
Seriously. There is no way Father gave up the head's ring. Beatrice? Huh. What a transparent prank, hoping to confuse us just by bringing up that name.
Hey, who filled this dessert up with a little too much punch? I want to applaud and praise you, so come clean, okay?
Punch.
Rosa? Oh, of course not. I wouldn't pull a prank by assuming Father's name. Then Anarchy? Anarchy? Me? Are you an idiot? It was Nissan, right? Only he could plan something this vulgar.
Are you trying to mock me?
Kids, get out.
Yeah. I'm the one who wants to question you. Who is behind this ill-natured prank?
His nose is ugly.
Kraus beat the table and stared at everyone. Since that included the children, too, he scared most of them.
A letter from a mysterious person who claims to have been given full rights to Father's assets. Considering that the whole point of this family conference is the discussion of that subject, I think it's too hasty to call this a mere prank.
We can't be sure. Maybe it really is one of Father's shady pranks. He might have planned this to shock us a bit, since we've been discussing the distribution of his inheritance without him.
If Dad was the one who planned this, then we can't take what Maria-chan just read aloud as a joke, right? That's right. If you interpret the contents literally, then this is a test from Father. The epitaph of the witch has been displayed in the hall for quite some time now, so that any one of us could solve it. There was plenty of notice. That means he was saying that the first person to solve it would be handed the inheritance along with all of his wealth, right?
Who is this?
This is me.
Yep, you.
Yeah.
See? My magic granted your wish.
Nothing so foolish could possibly be the case. It is an unshakable fact that my husband is the successor to the Ushiromiya family headship.
Well, doesn't this letter shake that? This is a message from the person who was given full rights to all of Father's wealth. Nissan's right to become the head. Oh, okay. Right as in right to rule sort of thing.
Yes.
I read it way wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. I just gotta run that one back. Nissan's right to become the head has returned to a blank slate. The person who solves the riddle, the person who finds Beatrice's gold, will become the next head of the Ushiromiya family.
Ridiculous. Do you think we can trust the meaningless words in that letter? That the seal was the real thing? There's no way we could trust that.
Then let's try to go and ask Father directly. At this point, you can't get away with saying Whoa. Hold on. Give me a water. Oh. Listen.
We've been going for a while. Honestly, I'm surprised that in previous episodes we haven't been being like, I need water.
I think bouncing between Ronove and Beatrice did something to me the same way that I unlocked permanent Shannon somehow.
You're just
So-
finding out all these new
Yep.
shackles to break.
I don't know. Well, I haven't done voice acting work in quite a while, and by that I mean ever. So then let's try to go and ask Father directly. At this point, you can't get away with saying he's grumpy or feeling bad, right? The sealed wax clearly shows that this was from Father's representative. If you doubt that, then show some proof, Nissan. Show that this letter does not contain Father's will.
Very well. It is just as you say. It no longer matters whether Father's in a good mood or not. Let us go up and ask him directly. This really is the timeline of everyone is agreeing on doing things and doing them instead of just sitting around squabbling.
Yep, it's the Banquet of the Golden Witch. Let's do it. We'll ask Dad directly. Dad is Dad, so why would he act in such a roundabout way? Then again, I guess that would be like him. I wonder if we really should continue this discussion on the assumption that this letter came from Father. Stupid Rosa! Isn't it obviously from Father? That letter is Father's.
Your turn, Kraus. Do it to her too.
True. Isn't it obvious that he's giving the four of us an even chance to become the successor? Die, you brainless idiot! Okay, I think this is also still me, but it's the other me.
Yeah.
Rosa really is dumb. If only she'd just give up and die. Yeah, when you know that, that's yeah. I'm sorry. That's right. I'm sorry.
Hideyoshi, say something, man. You're the anchor. You're the anchor. The ship's sailing away. In the beginning, the adults had all doubted the credibility of the letter. But after realizing that this was a once-in-a-lifetime chance in the inheritance struggle for the three younger siblings, Eva changed her position, claiming that the letter was authentic. Rudolph and Rosa caught on and agreed.
Outrageous! How can adults like you take such a worthless prank like this seriously? I don't need to be Father to understand his contempt.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Nazi-san, all we've got to do is ask Father and we're done, right? Won't everything be fine if Father just tells us that he doesn't know about any letter?
Nissan, take responsibility and just get him to say that he doesn't know about the letter. This is no time to get scared just because he's in a bad mood, okay? Yep, okay, me still.
Yep.
He's still scared of Father at his age.
That idiot. If only he'd just give up and die.
Yeah. Let's get this settled clearly. He's probably eating in his study right now. Let's have him set down his chopsticks for just a moment. Surprised he doesn't use fork and knife, considering how much of a Westerbo he is.
Exactly what I was thinking. It's decided. Let's go. Kyrie, wait here for a while. We'll go to check whether it's true or not and come back quickly.
Thank you. I'll wait patiently for Goda-san to bring in dessert.
The four siblings, Natsuki and Hideyoshi, all rose from their seats forcefully and flew out into the hallway with a clatter. Afterwards, only the children, stunned completely speechless, Nanjo, who looked uncomfortable, and Kyrie, who just shrugged, were left. You think Rudolph does that not because he's like, you're a woman and you shouldn't be involved, or he does it because he's like, I don't want you to have to be sitting through this?
Hard to say, really. It's Rudolph, so I don't know.
I feel like it might be a little bit of a mix of both.
I also feel like it's part of where he's the youngest male child in the family, so I feel like he's almost like, hey, don't come here because I don't want you to I don't want to get embarrassed because you're gonna see
that too. Yeah, it might be partially like, I don't want you to see me get ridiculed. I don't want you to see me maybe show myself. I don't want you to have to see my siblings show themselves.
Yep. It's a lot. There's a lot of moving parts for that, I feel like.
In the middle of all of this was Maria, who looked a little scared at the adult's sudden change. However, judging from her appearance, she didn't look like she realized the full meaning of what she just read.
What in the world was that all about? I don't get it.
They're all bastards. Do they really want the inheritance that much?
Everyone, this is our parents' problem. It has nothing to do with us. So you mustn't worry about it.
Even if you say that, they were so blatant about it.
I can't believe them. Showing off their greed like that? Oh, everyone has to believe together that we'll be happy.
That's right. We all did promise. Come on, Battler-kun, Jessica-chan, you too.
I feel horrible.
We couldn't accept it at all, but we laid down our arms for the time being. We've been vaguely aware of how filthy this family conference was going to be. However, after that 6-year blank, I couldn't help being shocked. When he saw that the children were completely dejected, Dr. Nanjo cleared his throat uncomfortably. It is an adult matter. It has nothing to do with all of you young people. Let us forget about it.
I would if I could. I know it's hard, but forget it for now. All of your parents are fighting frantically to make your futures just a little brighter. Please, don't look at your injured parents with those cold eyes when they come back.
No matter how much you ask us, Kyrie-san, that'll be tough.
If we could be happy with an explanation like that, we wouldn't be kids. Oh, everyone be happy! Can't get dark! Believe! If everyone doesn't believe, we can't be happy. That happiness will get away. Everyone has to believe.
Oh, sorry, I think my food's done.
I like the sound of that. I'll believe too. I'll believe we can find happiness.
Bright
I was gonna say, what
outside.
happened? She believed, it's happy, we're happy!
We're happy everyone, it's over. That's the end of Umineko.
Happy, happy, happy.
And
Kyrie, thank you! Battler and Jessica, you believe too! Beatrice is also always saying that magic won't have any power if you don't believe. Ooh.
Kyrie-san rose from her seat quietly and went over to Maria and crouched down so that their eyes met.
Ooh. Kyrie believed. Now Battler and Jessica have to believe.
Those two are strong. They'll feel better soon, and then they'll believe.
Yeah.
More importantly, I want you to tell me something. When Kyrie-san said that, Jessica, George Aniki, Dr. Nanjo, and I all listened closely. It looked like our parents were so concerned with the inheritance problem that grandfather filled their minds. But we wanted to ask Maria about something simpler.
Huh? What?
Who gave you that letter?
Beatrice!
The witch drawn in that portrait?
Oh, she gave me this letter and an umbrella. And she used magic to fix my rose that was broken. Beatrice is an awesome witch who can do anything.
Anything. Could you tell us about that in a bit more detail?
Oh. No. So, in case you were curious, for the entire time we've been streaming so far, has been one chapter.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I expect that from Umineko at this point.
It was long.
Ah. Let me take a sip.
Yep. What's your time on today, by the way?
My time on?
Yeah, what's your time on? It smells like up dog. No, what's your quitting time?
I don't have a quitting time today.
Okay, I do not either. I have nothing to do. We're finishing episode 3 today, guys.
That'll take us till 4 a.m.
I was gonna say we just started chapter 5 of 22.
Yeah,
so
no, we ain't doing that. But we might go longer than we usually run.
Okay.
Without even being allowed to wait for dessert, we were chased out of the room. I heard that, in the end, our parents were unable to get grandfather to respond. Well, I hate to say it, but I feel like giving grandfather a high five right now. He was probably pretty satisfied with how his strange letter had given his children a good shock, since they'd all been so infatuated with the inheritance problem while grandfather was still alive. I also felt like our despicable parents had gotten what they deserved in all this confusion. But I couldn't really say that I was feeling great. I felt all sulky. Apparently, grandfather hadn't seemed concerned with the whole thing, but he also hadn't denied anything about the letter either. When talking about the witch's letter, grandfather's name kept popping up. If grandfather knew that someone was stealing his name, then considering his character, he'd probably be mad with rage. But even though grandfather now knew the contents of that letter, he coldly ignored it. So did that count as a silent yes? Aunt Ava and Dad were trying to interpret the letter in their favor, their greed clearly visible. It wouldn't have mattered so much if that was all, but the adults had now started focusing on Maria, who had received the letter. They kept pounding her with questions about who had given it to her. Maria repeated over and over again that she had gotten it from Beatrice, but there was no way such a mysterious person could have sneaked onto the island. After all, this island's small, and there's no one living on it outside the Ushiromiya family household. Maria kept repeating that she'd gotten it from Beatrice no matter how many times she was asked. The adults seemed to think she was trying to trick them, so they didn't hold back and questioned her until she broke out into tears. When Maria was released, she sobbed, all worn out from crying. After our parents ordered us to go to the guest house and take Maria with us, They shut themselves up in the dining hall and started getting louder and louder as they discussed the inheritance. It seemed that, because of that strange letter, Uncle Krause's chances of becoming the next head might have been reduced to a blank slate. And in exchange for accepting him, my dad and the rest were trying to swindle Uncle Krause out of a lot of money. Or something like that. Disgusted as we were, Jessica and I were happy to move over to the guest house. We didn't want to be under the same roof as those filthy adults, their heads so filled with thoughts about money. George Aniki pleaded on our parents' behalf, saying that he wanted us to understand them. I understood his reasoning. No matter how filthy this talk of money was, it wouldn't go away if you just closed your eyes to it. But even so, how could they sink so low as to overtly fight over the money of the dead? Maria had cried herself dry and was hiding in her bed. She hadn't even twitched for a while, so she was probably sleeping.
Who in the world gave that letter to Maria-chan?
George Nason, you can't ask her that anymore. Isn't it fine to say that Maria got it from Beatrice and leave it at that? After all, we don't want to make her cry any more than this. Even though we said that, we couldn't clear away a gloomy feeling.
There are only 18 people on this island now. The thought that somewhere in the rain, a 19th person gave Maria-chan that letter and is now hiding somewhere.
Ding, ding, ding!
Doesn't seem realistic at all.
Most likely, somebody got Shannon or someone to put on the dress from that portrait and cleverly got Maria to go along with their story. Though, in Maria's case, just seeing the dress would probably convince her that it really was Beatrice. Maybe it doesn't really matter who handed her the letter. The important thing is who sent it. The point is that Grandfather wanted to cause an uproar by assuming the name of the witch. Seriously, that old geezer's good at riling people up. The most likely answer is that our occult-loving grandfather was playing around, handing the letter over to Maria, who shares the same hobby as he does, in such a dramatic way. Though he failed to give any thought for what Maria would have to go through, making it a pretty shitty thing to do. Seriously, messing around with Maria's pure heart. It doesn't matter who handed the letter over. Maria says she got it from Beatrice, so let's treat it that way.
I agree. Let's do that. To Maria-chan, Beatrice is kind of like what Santa Claus is to most kids.
Whether we're dealing with some non-existent 19th person or Santa Claus, as long as we all acknowledge them, they'll at least exist inside Maria. I see. Guess it can be important to lie to a child to protect their dreams. What's up, Jessica? Are you still angry? Jessica had her hand on her chin, as though there was something that she just couldn't understand. When I called out to her, she came to her senses. Sorry. Well, actually, I was wondering if Maria might have actually met Beatrice. What do you mean by that? Are you saying there's a 19th person on this island?
If you truly take Maria-chan's words to heart, then you would arrive at that answer.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm talking about the story that someone we don't know has been living on this island since long ago. Living, you say? Where? In the forest.
Creepy.
The adults were gathered in the dining hall, spending a very long time continuing the discussion that had been started by Beatrice's letter. Kraus strongly claimed that the letter was a simple prank, but he couldn't overturn the claim that Kinzo's failure to deny the letter was answer enough. Judging by Kinzo's character, if he knew that a letter had been written in his name, he would be mad with rage. Since all of the siblings knew that, Kraus had no choice but to withdraw his claim. Without even having to summarize it, the contents of the letter were simple. The person who could solve the witch's epitaph would receive the headship and assets. This did a lot of damage to Kraus, who had been sure that he would receive the headship, and was better news then, I think that's supposed to be 2, and was better news to the rest of them, who had already given up. What? This is written weird. And was better news to the rest of them, who had already given up what they could have hoped for. However, there were some points that worried them. The person who solved the epitaph was not limited to a member of the Ushiromiya family. Taken literally, anyone, no matter how doubtful their origin, might receive the headship. And furthermore, this meant that there was a chance that all of the Ushiromiya family's assets would be stolen by some unknown person. In that sense, it was definitely not a situation where even the other siblings could afford to lower their guard. Had this letter come from an assassin sent by Kinzo calling themselves Beatrice? Or was this the scheme of an unknown person trying to steal the Ushiromiya family's wealth? They still didn't know the truth. But they could say one thing for certain. Maria had received this problematic letter today on this island. In other words, someone planning something to do with that letter was on this island today. Had it been set up by Kinzo, one of the 4 siblings, or maybe some unknown person? No matter how much they suspected each other, they couldn't reach a conclusion. After getting tired of bickering with each other, they finally reached the extremely obvious conclusion that doubting each other was just a waste of time. We've made no progress. We've just been spinning our wheels.
That's right. And the mere fact that you've realized it means we won't have to waste any more time.
Damn.
It is not certain that father sent the letter. My husband is merely exasperated by your inability to hold a conversation.
Dang. Who's unable to hold a conversation? You keep yelling at me every time I say something. Do you truly think that such shameful behavior is fitting for a member of the Ushiromiya family?
Hit her with the "at least I can cook." Would you give it a rest, Ava? You too, Nazi-san. Leave the cat fight for other times. That topic's finished for now. A MILF fight?
Yeah. Shall we all cool our heads off for now?
Poor Rosa.
Yeah, look, the neutered Rosa when
Yep.
she's not in episode 2.
Yup, meek again. Meek and timid.
Let's have some cool drinks brought over.
That sounds good. It would probably be wiser if we cooled our heads. Don't you want to take a short break too, dear?
I don't know. I just like the idea of him doing something crazy, like reaching over the table. But Aniki looks like she's in a bad mood, so I'll pass on that break. But I agree about the cool drinks. Rosa, have someone bring some water. A whole pitcher.
Yes, understood.
Rosa headed over to the extension telephone in a corner of the room and called the servant room. She then passed on what Rudolph had told her to the person on the other end. Mackerel.
Mackerel water.
Mackerel water. The vicious bickering up until now had vanished, as though it had been a lie. That silence continued until Goda finished setting the table and retreated from the room. Retreated is a good way to put it.
Which one of us are you talking to, Percy?
I still can't see chat.
They've said you're a little too good at being sexist. I don't know when that was. I don't know which one of us it was. I don't know.
It's called acting sweaty.
You, not me. Haha.
It's called acting sweaty. Was I good at acting like I had a divorce last night? Anyways. That's something that happened in real life.
Yeah. I was wondering how that went.
Is there anything else that you require? No.
Ah.
Please leave us. Oh, was that in response to the me saying hit her with the at least I can cook?
Maybe. Or maybe it was the cat fight. It was probably the cat fight.
Oh, it might have been the cat fight. Yes. Then, if you will excuse me. What? What?
Percy said, I see why your wife divorced you.
Damn.
Oh, both of those things and a few others. Holy moly. Okay.
Then, if you will excuse me, if you need anything, call me at any time.
And then Goda hits you with the, well, at least I can cook.
At least I can cook. After listening to the sound of Goda's footsteps disappear off into the distance, everyone took a deep breath at the same time to break the tension. It sure is raining hard. I wonder if this 19th person is taking shelter in the Rose Garden Arbor about now.
I wonder. They might be able to escape the rain there, but it would be quite cold.
A mysterious 19th person as a visitor. Sounds pretty interesting. Just like a mystery novel. Normally, in that kind of story, it's a safe bet that the person doesn't exist. That one of us 18 would be faking it. I suspect Genji and the others. Just as I thought, it would have been better if we had dismissed all of the servants of the One-Winged Eagle, no matter what excuses we had to make. Come now, don't say that. We must be grateful for their long years of service. Of course, we can't let our guard down.
I'm sure you agree too, Nissan, that whether or not Father was behind this, the person who handed Maria the letter was a servant.
Indeed. In any event, we were all being friendly in our big happy circle until dinner, weren't we? All of the siblings have alibis. Only a servant could have handed Maria that letter.
But all of the servants said that they were too busy with the bed making to have any spare time during which they could go to Maria-chan in the rose garden.
Here we go. Hey, what are you trying to say then? You aren't saying that the Witch of the Forest, Beatrice-sama, came over and actually handed Maria that letter, are you?
Rosa, you used to believe in that so much. It really frightened you, right? Don't tell me you still believe at this age in the Wish of the Forest. If she did exist, I'd love for her to appear. But no matter how much I wished, she didn't appear before me even once. She didn't save me from my crisis. Of course not. I just thought that since all 18 of us said we didn't do it, there might really be a 19th person.
That can't be. In the first place, we were the only ones who came in on the boat. We didn't see any mysterious stranger riding with us. He's my favorite Fallout character.
Uh,
You don't think they could have swam across the rough sea, right? And there's no way anyone could have come like before us and just stayed here. I can't really imagine it.
yeah, you're not the detective, Hideyoshi.
Logically, that's true. It is difficult to imagine that there's a single hidden and uninvited guest on this isolated island.
Oh, bye, Percy.
However, it looks like some of us still can't abandon the possibility completely, right?
Oh,
Hideyoshi had laughed it off, saying there couldn't be a 19th person. But Kyrie had sensitively picked up on the delicate atmosphere among the four siblings. In a normal situation, there shouldn't have been any uninvited guests on this small, isolated island. How would they have come here, and from where, and where were they hiding? And why hadn't they appeared openly, even though they had sent a letter in their name? Nothing could explain that. But not only had the four siblings not joined in on Hideyoshi's laughing, they also seemed unable to completely deny in their hearts the possibility of a 19th person. Kyrie-san, please don't misunderstand. It's not as though we believe in anything like that fairy tale legend of the witch.
Is this another topic to insult Father? Simply speaking of such a thing is a betrayal against him.
I wonder. However, this is Father we're talking about. It could be possible, right? I don't know anything.
What's this? What's this? Why has everyone gotten so gloomy? What are y'all talking about? In short, the legend of the witch isn't a joke, but a fact? That's ridiculous.
Of course nobody believes in some witch riding a broom and flying in the sky. But the woman in that portrait, Beatrice, might really have existed on this island.
Hideyoshi-san, it looks like we aren't talking about a witch, but something a little simpler. So it must be something like this. Everyone suspects that Father had a mistress named Beatrice secretly living somewhere on this island. Is that it?
Father was always exemplary at keeping strictly to the rules. It is completely inconceivable that he would bring something so filthy onto this island. Natsuhi snapped at them immediately, but it looked like the four siblings, including Kraus, didn't agree. On the contrary, they appeared to think Kinzo wouldn't even have hesitated to do something like that. From the beginning, it had been whispered that Kinzo had built a mansion on this island specifically because of the existence of an entrancing mistress. Beatrice, you vile woman.
I'm sorry, Nazi-san. I know how much you respect Dad, but that rumor's been around for a long time. All the buildings on Rokkenjima were built by Dad on his own.
With his bare hands.
People have always guessed he had some contraption or secret room set up in this mansion that only he knew about. And it's always been whispered that hidden somewhere on this island, there's a secret mansion none of us know about.
An entire other mansion? Not just like a house, but another mansion.
I see. This island might look small on a map, but it's quite large for just the Ushiromiya family to live on. So people have suspected that he built a secret mansion somewhere in the uncivilized forest for his mistress to live in. That would be quite a large-scale scheme.
That's not Kyrie. In the beginning, people thought it might be somewhere inside this mansion, that there might be a hidden basement with a fabulous hidden room where the witch in that portrait was secretly hiding. After seeing that intricate auto lock on Dad's study, it isn't too hard to imagine, right?
After all, Father did spread the rumor that a large amount of gold was hidden somewhere by some mechanism. I wouldn't be surprised if there existed some hidden room inside this very mansion that none of us knows about yet.
When Mother was alive, she would often scour the entire mansion searching for Father when he wasn't anywhere to be found. Mother also suspected that what Rudolph just said. She believed there was a hidden door or stairway somewhere, and that his blonde-haired mistress was hidden behind it.
It's hard to believe, but there are some actual examples in other countries of people cheating with someone over a period of several decades by making them live in a hidden attic room. Furthermore, Kenzo had a mansion this extravagant. It was possible to suspect the existence of a hidden room. From what I've heard, the legend of the Rokkenjima witch was just a fairy tale made up to scare children away from the uncivilized forest. But it's starting to sound like there's a little more to the story.
Well, as you know, this is a lonely island without anything but the Uchiromiya mansion on it. When Rosa and I were little brats on stormy nights, we got so scared by the sound of trees rustling in the direction of the forest. We had this crazy delusion that something weird might be looking out at us from between those trees. It's only natural for a brat to think of stuff like that. But when Rosa and I complained about it, some people figured it was more than a brat's imagination. Isn't that right, Aneki? Yeah. Nissan and I thought you might have coincidentally spotted Father's mistress, living in secrecy on this island as she went out for a walk when no one was looking. Of course, Mother felt the same.
Even among the older servants, you often heard that ghost story of how the Witch of the Portrait wanders the mansion at midnight. Outwardly, I laughed it off as just a ghost story, but on the inside, I suspected very much that it hinted at the existence of a hidden mistress. In that case, you're saying that the existence of a 19th person might not be completely ridiculous? That they might actually be somewhere around here? Sounds like one of those devil's proofs Rudolph's always talking about. It might be possible to prove that there is a 19th person, but it's impossible to prove that a 19th person doesn't exist. Should we continue this discussion under the assumption that there's a person named Beatrice hiding somewhere on this island?
No. That's a good plan from the perspective of risk management. It's probably much more prudent to say she might exist rather than saying she couldn't exist.
I see. Sorry, I was a bit careless. Rosa-san, sorry for laughing just now.
Huh? It's fine. I don't mind.
Hideyoshi apologized deeply for taking the worst-case scenario lightly, despite calling himself the president of a company. Okay, had to throw in that little bit on the end there.
Yeah.
Silence fell again. Preparing for the existence of a 19th person would mean, in effect, acknowledging the presence of some unknown person hidden on this island. And since this person might be planning something shady, it was only natural that the conversation would turn in an ominous direction. In the past, Father would sometimes suddenly disappear without telling anyone where he went. After all, he is a man who values silence. It wouldn't have been out of the ordinary for him to shut himself up in some library room after purposefully not telling anyone where he was going. However, when the witch theory was slowly refined into the theory about his mistress, people eventually whispered that he was secretly going back and forth to see her.
Mom was totally paranoid in her last years. she'd sometimes suddenly stop making a fuss, asking the servants to start looking for Dad immediately because of some urgent situation. Yes, that did happen sometimes. Mother was always doing things like that in her later years, and that frightening atmosphere still hasn't gone away. I can say it for certain now. She was a person to be pitied.
So then, what happened with those large-scale searches of the house? Did they find anything?
No, my father wasn't caught foolishly in a hidden room even once. Always after a long time had passed, he would suddenly show up somewhere. Then he'd say that he'd taken a nap in some library room, or that the wind had summoned him to take a walk on the beach. But it was always some place where the servants had already looked.
When I'm old, I'm gonna tell my grandchildren the wind had summoned me to take a walk.
Forget being old, I'm gonna start doing that now. We never knew where Father had gone. Even at that time, Grandfather was famous for his occult inclinations. So some of the servants exaggerated, saying that he might have turned into butterflies and danced around the rose garden.
So, in short, Father frequently disappeared and no one knew where he went.
Yeah. Since we couldn't find him no matter how much we looked inside the mansion, we got more and more sure that Dad might have been somewhere outside. But the area outside the mansion isn't large at all, which leaves only the forest. And if you tie that in with the legend of the witch, you get a theory like this. Father actually built a hidden mansion somewhere in the forest, inside of which a mistress by the name of Beatrice lived, and he sometimes went to see her.
I was also young at the time. I was so eager to find where Father was having his affair that, at one time, I followed him when he went outside. Of course, it was a failure. Every time Father went out, he was oddly intent on avoiding places where he might be seen, and was extremely careful to prevent anyone from spotting him. And he was extraordinarily earnest in his attempts to do so. But that actually made me sure. He must have been going out for some reason that the members of his family couldn't know about. And that'd be going to meet his mistress. Probably trying to avoid being seen. After seeing Hideyoshi nod and say yes, yes, as though this was quite obvious, Eva got a little sullen.
Well, anyway, this island was like a sketchbook in which Father, with his Western obsession, could draw out all of his dreams. Everything about this island was exactly how Father wanted it. It wouldn't be odd at all if there was a hidden mansion somewhere for his mistress to live in.
Ava's words spoke for what all of the siblings had come to think. For a while, the room returned to silence again, and everyone listened to the sound of the wind and the rain. Was there a hidden mansion on this island, and had Kinzo's mistress been living there in hiding for a long, long time? Everyone thought they were being too suspicious, and they hesitated for a long time without speaking. But everyone shared a common opinion. Kirye, who had been listening the whole time with her eyes closed, spoke to no one in particular. How long has this rumor about Father's mistress been around?
As soon as we moved to this island, about 30 years ago. After all, it probably would have been impossible for him to have a hidden mansion built while we were here. People and materials would have to be going in and out. It would have been exposed quickly. So if it was possible, it happened before we moved here. It probably could have been built along with this mansion when we were still living in Odawara. Since Father had to set up a double life with his family and his mistress, it's probably reasonable to assume that he had it all planned from the beginning. And his relationship with that mistress probably went back to the days when we lived in Odawara.
Probably. If, as father says, she is the source of the vast amount of gold he used to gain the funds that resurrected the Ushiromiya family, we could probably conclude that they had a close relationship since Odawara. A relationship trusting enough for her to lend him a vast quantity of gold. I can't even imagine how old that relationship must have been.
Perhaps father gave her some kind of valuable advice for succeeding in business. It's natural to think that out of a sense of gratitude for that, this person gave father the gold. If you think about it that way, it's obvious that they would have a close relationship after that. Rather than a festering relationship with a mistress, it was probably a relationship of gratitude to the person who saved the Ushiromiya family from its crisis.
I don't know if what Natsuki-san's saying has a ring of truth to it or not, but even in that case, isn't building a hidden mansion and having her living in it going a bit too far? Doesn't that mean they felt something a bit more than gratitude?
Well, this is all just speculation. In the first place, no one's ever found that hidden mansion. Aniki, you were planning on expanding this island into a resort, right? As you were doing that, you didn't manage to stumble on it by chance, did you? Maybe you even bumped into some gold there, too?
Do you think Rokkenjima is Treasure Island or something?
Don't play dumb. We know that although you say you're opening a resort, you have really been planning to investigate the entire island, right? Judging by all that trouble and confusion we were talking about earlier, you haven't been very successful, have you?
I don't know what you're talking about, but it's a misunderstanding. Isn't it perfectly natural that investigating this island would be the first step in turning it into a resort? Kraus tried to play dumb, but it was plainly obvious to his siblings who knew him so well. Kraus was definitely sure of the existence of a hidden mansion, and under the pretense of opening a resort, he had been closely investigating the island, searching for a clue as to the location of the hidden gold. They couldn't tell whether that conviction was just him overthinking things, or whether it was based on some physical proof. Sorry, I had to yawn. Still, if Kraus, with all his guile, was sure, that was enough proof for the other siblings to be sure too. The story about a witch living in a forest is obviously a fairy tale. But the story about some blonde-haired girl living secretly in a mansion no one knows about in the middle of the forest isn't much better.
That's right. That really would be just like a fairy tale. You like those, don't you, Rosa?
But,
Oh, haven't gotten my daily Rosa bullying in yet.
Yeah, I haven't got my Rosa
minutely.
dig in yet.
Huh? Well,
When the mansion was built on this island, Father was at the height of his prosperity. With his money, he could probably obtain anything, make any of his wild imaginings real. A mansion in the forest where a witch quietly waits. It sounds like the kind of situation Father would like.
doesn't it? Like something from the occult or a fairy tale. Feels like Dad's kind of hobby. Wouldn't you say, Rosa?
You can't get me while I'm drinking. On this island, on which the Ushiromiya family had lived for 30 years now, a hidden mansion that no one knew about had been quietly built to house a witch, about whom nothing was known except what could be guessed from a portrait. Even this hastily thrown together theory might not be completely delusional, considering all of Kenzo's strange habits and his vast wealth. It might not have been impossible for Father to build a hidden mansion to satisfy his dreams. However, let's be realistic.
Would it be possible to house his beloved woman in that hidden mansion for decades without it becoming inconvenient?
Well, if there was love, it could have been doable, right?
Think of the facilities needed to let his beloved woman live healthily, and in a way that would satisfy Father. For example, even if it was on a small scale, it would have to be an intricate and pleasant residence. It would probably need to have electricity, gas, and running water maintained, as well as some people to see to her needs. Even cooking would be quite difficult. She would need clothes and makeup and the daily necessities. The needs of a woman aren't simple. Would it be possible to maintain all of that without any of the family or servants noticing?
When you say it that way, it sure sounds like a weak point in our theory. But that isn't enough to get rid of my feeling that Dad might have been able to do it anyway. After all, it's Dad we're talking about. That's right. It's our father.
If Father wanted to succeed in an endeavor, he would succeed no matter what. Saying that something would be difficult for a normal person and therefore impossible doesn't apply when it comes to Father.
Dang.
Indeed. You should never underestimate Father. Father's madness can't be understood by normal people. All of us at the same time, I guess? I wouldn't put it past
that's
Kenzo.
Kenzo.
As long as you stick to this phrase, a considerable amount of credibility can dwell in any absurd story. However, that didn't cause the importance of what Kyrie had said to waver. This was different from stealthily raising a kitten in a cardboard box and keeping it a secret from your parents. Taking care of a person in secret over a period of 30 years would be an incalculably massive task.
Never hear that word very much.
Incalculably?
Yeah.
After all, Father's Legend of the Gold started before he gained possession of Rokkenjima. That'd mean his relationship with his mistress was over 30 years long. How old would that make her? 7. No.
Have you seen that new meme that's going around in anime circles?
No.
Anatomy of a something, and then it's like a guy describing everything he's wearing and has, and then at the end it says child girlfriend.
Oh, I have seen that. Yes.
Kenzo.
Oh.
That's all I have to say.
In the worst case, she could be as old as us, or older, right? Why is that the worst case? By that age, the body starts to break down. I don't care what the mansion's like. I wouldn't use the word agreeable to describe living in a place where people's eyes can't reach. Almost like she was under house arrest.
That's right. If what Father told us about Beatrice is true, then that relationship has lasted for over 30 years. She might have been a charming young woman at the time, but it probably makes sense to assume she's an old bag like us now.
Damn.
The age of Ava is in demand. I can easily imagine that, given the contents of that letter.
You're just 17 second season, Ava. It's okay. You should talk. Kraus laughed as if none of this applied to him. Of course, Ava was offended, but she didn't strike back.
Quit it, Anarchy. So if everything worth thinking's true, then she should be joining in on Dad's inheritance problem with her head held high? After all, there's a good chance their love was mutual, unlike with Mom. Even if she knows she's his mistress, she might also be proud to be his true wife.
That is an insult to Mother.
Yeah, sorry. However, everyone knows that it was a political marriage decided on by the elders among his relatives. Because of that, it definitely wouldn't be strange for Dad to have a mistress. Man.
The family sank after the Great Kanto earthquake, and Father was set up as the Ushiromiya head against his will. However, in the beginning, the elder relatives treated Kenzo like a dummy and influenced him powerfully, almost like he was a puppet. He wasn't permitted to decide anything by himself, not even his marriage partner. Ever since he met that golden witch Beatrice in those distant days, Kinzo's legend of the gold was quickly embellished into something dramatic. In other words, it could mean that Kenzo really did find a woman he loved. If she also knew the whole story, even if they weren't marriage partners, it wouldn't have been odd for her to consider herself his true wife inside her heart. And now, the person registered as his true wife was already dead. Which means she might feel confident staking her claim, not just for the rights to his assets, but regarding the battle over the headship, too. I see. I'm starting to see the purpose of this letter. The headship goes to the one who solves the riddle of the epitaph. Is that what it means? That's what everyone has been saying the whole time, yes.
Adult scene moment.
Yeah.
Even if that mistress was added into the family ranking system, she isn't a direct relative of Father, so she'd be inferior even to the children. In other words, she'd be one step below Rosa in rank. Rosa, can you believe it?
Minutely Rosa bashing.
That wouldn't be a good position to enter the battle for the headship from. I see. So that's it. If someone can solve the witch's riddle, they'll get the headship regardless of rank. In other words, it's the most advantageous condition Beatrice could possibly get, since she's got no chance otherwise.
The revival of the Ushiromiya family was made possible by our sponsors, the Golden Witch Beatrice. By the gold Beatrice had bestowed. That was quite a distinguishing service she had provided. She had built that wealth together with Kenzo, so it was natural that she would think of herself as the one who should inherit it. It would also be natural for her to despise the thought of giving it up to the children of the wife Kenzo never loved. How could she be so impudent? Even if such a mistress actually exists, joining in on the battle for the rights to the head's inheritance would be a reckless action far above her place. What disregard for her own position! Natsuhi turned red, her fist quivering. She had also come into the Ushiromiya register due to complicated circumstances. Those who knew that understood more or less why she was so angry for the sake of Kinzo's dead wife.
Well, thanks to that reckless action of hers, we all have an even chance now, right? Father has even given it his silent approval. Will the person who succeeds the Ushiromiya family be his Mistress Beatrice? Or one of us, the relatives he doesn't love? Maybe he wants to make us struggle over that to see who's worthy.
As Eva giggled roguishly, Kraus shrugged his shoulders and looked away. However, since she's the one who brought this rule to light in the first place, maybe that means it gives her a significant advantage. That's right. In the first place, if Beatrice meant that letter literally, then she's Father's alchemist. In other words, she's the manager of his gold. It wouldn't be strange at all if she knew where it was hidden, would it? Isn't that harsh? It's like she's given us a riddle she knows the answer to. She'll probably show up rudely, say, "Hey, here's the answer, I'll take the headship now," and snatch everything away from us.
That's right. The person who brings up a riddle always knows the answer. There's a good chance that this is all a trap to steal everything from us.
If you think about it like that, don't you start to doubt whether she really had any gold in the first place? Why would she tell us about it? All she has to do is keep quiet and embezzle it.
You sound like a pro in that. It really is strange.
That certainly was the case. If the epitaph showed the way to the hidden gold, why would she challenge them to try and solve it? If they actually did solve it, wouldn't the gold all be stolen from her? Could it be that this person was trying to stir the siblings up so that they'd solve the epitaph, and then plan to steal it away at the last second? Not very unsportsmanlike behavior from the siblings. They just don't understand a good competition.
They don't.
It was an extremely logical possibility. No. If you spin the chessboard around, there might be a pretty good chance that they actually do have the gold.
I missed that. Why are you so certain? Wait, Anarchy. Kyrie, please keep talking. Why do you think that?
You just asked what Ava... Okay. Only I can talk to my wife.
That way, and by that way I mean at all.
After all, do they really think we'll let go of the Ushiromiya family headship just because someone tells us the answer to the riddle in the witch's epitaph? That we'll be so impressed by their answer that we'll just give up?
Well, that's true. No way they're so naive that they assumed we'd just give up after being told the answer to a riddle. That we'd just say, "Here you go," and hand it over.
Of course. The headship of the Ushiromiya family is not something that can be handed over so easily. That's it exactly. No matter how Beatrice might one-sidedly propose a game like this, even if she were to spectacularly show us the answer, there's no way we'd obediently hand over the headship. In other words, unless she has a compelling force in the form of challenging us to a game with equal conditions for us all, this won't truly count as a game.
You're right. Unless the losers have no choice but to give up on the headship.
Because of a compelling force.
Oh,
is that still you?
yeah, the quotes didn't end.
Okay.
I just get special treatment. Or Rudolph does, I guess. How? Because of a compelling force. This won't really count as a game.
Why did you say it like that, dear?
No, I'm kidding.
Say it in bold.
And what might this compelling force be?
Pull out a gun.
Would they bind... Would they bind us in chains and threaten us into handing over the headship? Could you imagine? And what might this compelling force be? Beatrice just walks in with a fucking gun.
Every time any sprite has a gun, it's the funniest thing
It
ever.
is.
Because they'll just be talking and then suddenly the sprite will just...
Yep.
I see. I get it. They just have to do something to make us want to give up the headship willingly. Yes, I see. To do that, Beatrice would have to own 10 tons of gold.
I see. I get it too. Don't leave me out. I know, I'm smart.
True.
In other words, it's a trade?
Huh? What do you mean? A trade? Trade what? The Ushiromiya family headship for the hidden gold. Beatrice surely plans to tell us the location of the 10 tons of gold and use that as a bribe to gain the Ushiromiya family headship. Ridiculous! They want to trade the headship of the glorious Ushiromiya family for... money? That's blasphemy!
Blasphemy against the Ushiromiya family!
Holy moly.
Your shrine maiden's coming through.
Yeah.
Please, listen without getting mad. About how much wealth does this glorious Ushiromiya family have right now? Are we really that affluent? The definition of affluence is not dependent on property. It is about heart. Our financial situation has nothing to...
Kraus interrupted Nazi as she started to go on and on emotionally. She really do have that one winged eagle engraved in her heart.
Me telling the banker that affluence is a state of mind. I am
Nazi
several
would've-
million dollars
Nazi
in debt.
would have thrived in feudal Japan, where she could have convinced like thousands of peasants that she was rich in soul.
Yeah, true.
In this situation, the more she went on like that, the worse it would actually sound. Me aside, I hear your current situations are quite unfavorable. We're all down Schitt's Creek without a paddle.
Oh, really? I've heard that your financial situation's really bad, too. Offering up more and more as collateral for new money to gamble with. Repeatedly dabbling in new gambles, unable to accept your losses. If we count what's going on behind the scenes, you're in even bigger financial straits than the rest of us. Just how much money have you lost, Nissan? You have no talent.
Who are you saying has no talent? And what do you mean financial straits? Nazi became indignant once more, but Kraus raised his hand again and interrupted her.
King Baldwin.
He is not King Baldwin. It seems you are making a small mistake. Business is not something that can be judged based on current progress alone. For someone with a long-term outlook on business, such as myself, it may sometimes appear at a glance that I have suffered significant short-term losses.
Aniki, we've been collecting evidence. Your position right now isn't one to be proud of. So, this is what Kyrie is trying to say. Every one of us has gotten money trouble. And Beatrice has 10 tons of gold.
Let's kill her. No.
True.
As the only person who knows the location of the 10 tons of gold, Beatrice is planning on using it to force us to sell the headship.
Instead of this being the everybody gank Kraus, it's now become burn the witch!
Yeah, it's the burn the witch. About how much is 10 tons of gold worth? This really is just episode 1, but if they were a little bit more level-headed and didn't argue as much.
Mm-hmm.
At a rough estimate, let's say 2 billion yen. No, 20 billion yen. With that much piled up, we'd be ecstatic to accept her as the successor. Nuh-uh. I want 21.
$15 best I can do.
About 350. The scene returned to silence. In fact, the rain and wind felt even noisier now. Thanks
Oh,
for
they
the set
stopped
dressing,
for us.
Beatrice. It was probably the sound of the windstorm racing through the insides of their minds.
Oh. This isn't funny. Do you think we'd give up the headship to some woman of doubtful origin? Just because she had a little money stored up.
Don't be stupid. The headship wasn't even yours in the first place, right? We've got nothing to lose and money to gain. We'll have to calculate our profit and loss, but it's something worth listening to. They knew that Kraus had eaten up much of the Ushiromiya family's assets. So it was dregs that remained of that inheritance, versus the cost of being accepted as the head that Beatrice would pay. It was a shame, but honestly, the former was less enticing than the latter.
Well, it probably wouldn't end up as 4 equal portions. Since Aniki would be giving up his position of successor, his portion would have to be larger. You didn't have to say that. You could have made... Okay. Makes me feel kind of jealous, you know? See, he didn't know. He just now figured that out. See?
Dear, the amount of money isn't the problem, right? Poor Natsuhi. Your cowardly younger siblings are trying to sell the glory of the Ushiromiya family for money. Don't you see? Why aren't you displaying your dignity as the oldest son? Natsuhi, stay quiet for a while. Dear!
This is a dizzying proposal. We were each planning on getting 250 million yen out of Aniki. If the witch treats us with 10% of those 10 tons.
That's too big. Love you, dear.
Yeah. That means she's treating us with 10 times our original goal.
Battler is his father's son.
What a crazy... They didn't have to include that. He could have just figured it out, but then they said, you know what?
This would be what happened.
Oh, that alone would be more than enough for us. It's not like I've got any attachment to the Ushiromiya name. I'd be happy to sail it off. He just becomes Rudolph.
The red-nosed reindeer.
Oh, that's Kyrian. Bleh. Even if 10 tons is a slightly optimistic figure, yes, it'd still be a fascinating prospect for us. We were trying to form an alliance amongst the siblings to kick this outsider called Beatrice out. But if this is her plan, it'll tear apart the unity between us. Yeah. By this point, we can state it clearly. The goal of Beatrice's letter was to disturb our alliance. No, she's going to murder all of you. Horribly.
Yeah. Maybe not this time. Maybe it'll be like normal murder.
Doubt. Extreme doubt. Yeah. Disemboweling and feeding you to your siblings. Ding, ding, ding! If the 3 younger siblings, who never had anything to do with the inheritance, were paid enough money to satisfy them, they would happily accept Beatrice as the next head. A moat had been dug all around Kraus. So now it has become the gang up on Kraus, but this time with Beatrice on our side. Party.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, the negotiations would be one-on-one between her and Kraus. I can give you golden retrievers.
No way, babe.
Walks out from the negotiating table. Natsuhi, what did you get? You won't believe this, babe. I got something even better than money. He tried to look strong, but Kraus's financial and political situation was extremely weak. He might bluff in front of his siblings, but on the inside he was considering entering negotiations depending on the sum of money involved. In order to bury his losses, Kraus had taken advantage of the fact that Kinzo had shut himself up in his room and had embezzled Kinzo's personal assets. Wow, okay, actually
We got confirmation.
was true that did happen. Therefore, when Kinzo died and the inheritance was distributed, Kraus's situation would probably be investigated. But if he gave up his seat as the head to Beatrice, she would also receive rights to the assets, and as a result, the distribution of the inheritance to the siblings would not occur. In other words, Kraus's embezzlement might not have to be made known to the other siblings.
It's oddly silent now.
Of course, the siblings were frightened of Kinzo, but it was doubtful whether they still actually respected him as a father. Doubtful, I feel like it's completely out the window that they respect him as a father. And it's out the window if he deserved respect as a father.
True.
By this
I think
time,
Rose is afraid.
yeah, by this time, they each had their own families, their own wealth, and their own lives. If they were paid enough money in exchange for Rokkenjima, the wreckage of Kinzo's dreams, there was a significant likelihood that they'd relinquish the Ushiromiya family name. Dang, Hideyoshi wins full circle. His wife takes his last name. In other words, Beatrice's victory was already guaranteed in this game. Not as the winner of Beatrice's game, but as the winner of Kinzo's game. Kinzo once ordered that the epitaph be put on display, and until today, no one had solved it. So Beatrice solved it. In other words, this is less of a game and more like Beatrice's declaration of victory. However, Kyrie still thought there might be a catch. If this was a declaration of victory, Beatrice would only have had to display the gold openly and state her intent to buy the inheritance. And yet, she had gone to all of this trouble, telling the siblings to try it and solve the epitaph. Why did she set up this new game, where she agreed to hand over all of the gold and the inheritance to the epitaph solver? Kyrie tried spinning the chessboard around several times. She searched for the sort of ideal strategy Beatrice might be after, something that could lead to this kind of thinking. It's just not a logical thought. It's not, again, you're trying to think that the opponent's playing by your rules, Kyrie. She's not. In the end, she reached a single conclusion. I don't know. Could it be arrogance? Or maybe she's playing?
What are you talking about?
The witch sent us a letter of challenge, forcing us to try and solve the epitaph. She might be taking us lightly, thinking we could never solve it. However, at the very least, there ought to be an extremely small chance that we do solve it. After all, we have here 4 of Father's children by blood, right? The questionnaire called together 4 blood relatives who, if they tried frantically to work together and avoid having those assets stolen from them, might come across the answer of the riddle by chance. The reason the witch had a superior position in negotiations compared to the siblings was that only she knew the location of the hidden gold. But if that hiding place was exposed to someone other than her, the witch's advantage would crumble. In short, Beatrice gains nothing but risk by writing this witch's letter of challenge. Of course, it might have had the effect of splitting apart the siblings' alliance. But if that was her only goal, why would she take this risk, however slight it might be? That seems reckless to me. But if we keep in mind a certain type of emotion, that risk becomes comprehensible.
And you're saying it's arrogance?
Yes, that's right. When people have an overwhelming advantage, they tend to get arrogant. And when they do, they want to show off that advantage to the losers, so they sometimes take on small risks. A moderate amount of risk adds a little spice to the joy of victory. It'd be boring to win without any risk.
I understand. I'd like that kind of thing too. Yeah, I understand it well.
I thought of a few plausible explanations for the true motive behind Beatrice's letter, but I think this really might be the truth. The emotion hidden behind that letter was arrogance.
Arrogance.
She's trying to throw her weight around, looking down on us, as if there's no way we could figure out such a difficult epitaph. It might even be possible, if surprising, that the epitaph wasn't written by Father, but by her.
Sounds great. Solve the riddle of the epitaph, she says. Wow. Thumbnail lady.
If only I solved it, I would be made the head, right? I'll solve it. I'll accept the witch's challenge. As if those other idiot siblings could solve it. I'll solve it by myself, and then I'll prove that I'm the one who's fit to succeed the Ushiromiya family.
I'll take that challenge. I will. Solve the riddle.
Didn't even make a noise.
I was gonna say, I haven't had game audio in so long.
Maybe something happened. Maybe the audio like cut out.
Maybe. But that's 2 chapters down.
That is
I think
2
that's
chapters
a
down.
decent stopping point.
Yep, that's probably a good stopping point. Oh.
Yeah, I think
Hello?
our
Beatrice?
Oh.
Beatrice?
Beat. Oh.
I see. I don't care. I don't care that you see.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I do think the audio just kind of went out because it's not making
Okay.
any noises for me in here either.
Even the game is telling us it's time to
Yep.
quit.
Yep. All right, game is
That's fine, we had a lot.
saved. Title back. Boom.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking forward to the week. Tomorrow there will be a podcast episode. Thursday there will not be a stream because I have a monthly obligation I have to deal with on Thursday nights, once per month. I may try to do a makeup stream on Saturday. TBD. Or maybe Sunday. I don't know yet. But for now, at least no Thursday stream. But fun new co-op video on Saturday.
Fun new co-op video on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I'm
Umineko.
excited to keep chugging through episode 3. I want to know why this is here, right? I want to know why we're getting this flashback mansion, which I'm assuming, I'm still running under the assumption that the princess, quote unquote, is our Beatrice. Old Beatrice is her teacher. That's pretty much confirmed that old Beatrice is her teacher. White hair Beatrice is her teacher. I think this is maybe where she lived, because that's where like we saw the stuff that happened at the beginning where it was weird. But I don't know
Just
why it's
you
here.
wait,
Why is it
brother.
here? Why is it here? Why are we seeing it? Why are they showing it to us? I don't know. I'm excited. You were right. We got through the slog that was episode. Honestly, not even episode 2. The first half of episode 2. Once you get into it in episode 2, like with all the magic-y doodad stuff happening, it gets wild.
Yep.
Ah.
All right. As the game says, everyone at home watching, like and subscribe. It says it right there. I can read it.
It does say it.
And we eagerly await your return.
We eagerly await your return.